Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So I came across this really interesting article, 10 NBA starting lineups in need of a change this NBA offseason. So basically what I want to do is I want to go through each of these teams right here and kind of give you guys my opinion about what exactly they need to change, maybe what exactly could do this offseason, and maybe even a few good things about the team also, just because when it comes to these NBA teams out there, man, everybody out there has a direction that they need to go into, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So let's go through this, guys. This article by Dan Favel right here, man. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to drop a like on this video. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this article. Okay, so the first team we have is the Atlanta Hawks. I will say, first and foremost, man, the Atlanta Hawks, it's like they do have the, well, it's like the third pick in the draft or something like that. They have a pretty solid draft pick. I really do like Taurean Prince a lot, man. He had a really solid second to NBA season. John Collins looked like he was a nice little gem, in last year's draft. Dennis Schroeder, though, the issue about him is that he wants to be traded, it sounds like. He's got a pretty large contract. I don't think that the Atlanta Hawks are going to be able to get a player back that, or even a draft pick back that is going to excel what exactly Dennis Schroeder does for this Atlanta Hawks team. I mean, believe it or not, man, he's actually a really solid point guard. He just is on a bad team, and there is, flaws to his game, but I mean, he was like a solid 20-point per game scorer. Got some a few assists out there and stuff too. So yeah, man, as far as the direction of this team, I mean, realistically, guys, stick out things with Taurean Prince. I think he can also play the shooting guard position. So what I think they need to do is go for a guy like a Michael Porter, maybe even a Mohamed Bamba out there, just because like John Collins, like I was saying, he's really solid. So they have some nice pieces out there. It's just a matter of time of some of these guys developing into their prime and adding some more pieces via the lottery draft. The Atlanta Hawks are not typically like a big time free agent destination, so definitely a team that needs to build via the draft. I just don't think, I guess what you want to hope for with Dennis Schroeder is that maybe trade him away for like a mid to late first round draft pick. I feel like they could get something like that for him, and then hope that draft pick ends up being a lot better than what, than where they were selected as. So yeah, man, I don't know, the Atlanta Hawks definitely are definitely one of the more like rebuilding teams right now in the NBA, but at the same time have some really nice pieces. Next up, we have the Chicago Bulls. So their 2018-2019 projected starting lineup: Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine. I like both those players. Chris Dunn looks like, man, like he was just kind of like a toss-in player with the Chicago Bulls Jimmy Buckets trade. So it's like he's been pretty nice. A lot of people thought he was going to be a bust after his rookie season. Zach LaVine, not quite sure what type of contract he is going to warrant out there. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty large out there. But Zach LaVine, I mean, a guy that's athletic and shoot the three ball, it's like that's exactly what you want at the two guard these days. Justin Holiday, that's a role player, man. So they definitely need to improve their small forward position. Lauri Markkanen, he's very nice. Robin Lopez, another position that they need to improve out there. So yeah, really what they need to do, man, is they need to go best available small forward or center when it comes to the NBA draft. I know Mohamed Bamba is another player that really wants to go and play for Chicago Bulls. I know Bulls fans are really hoping that Michael Porter also drops to them. But yeah, so it's like the Bulls, another team that the thing they have about them that separates them from the Atlanta Hawks is that a lot of teams or a lot of players do want to play for the Chicago Bulls just because they are one of those NBA teams. So they can go out there and, man, just improve at the small forward and center position. I think this team is definitely going to be nice for, in quite a few years right here. So I don't think they need to go out and get like some 29, 30-year-old free agent that's kind of like an all-star. That's really not the direction of this team. They just kind of, once I was saying, man, like trust the process and go from there. So if they could get somebody like a Jabari Parker or an Aaron Gordon, somebody like that not quite an all-star yet, but definitely will be in a few seasons, and also is young to kind of grow with the rest of this team. That's kind of the direction you want to see with the Chicago Bulls team, man. But yeah, so they got some nice things about them. Just a few steps back, that they need to kind of clear and do going into this NBA offseason. Okay, next up, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going to say straight up, man, outside of LeBron James and Kevin Love, this team is absolutely trash. Like, literally, man, in the playoffs, like, Cavs fans are hoping that Rodney Hood goes out there, man, getting geeked up when he drops 15 points. I'm saying, man, I'm rooting for LeBron James over the Golden State Warriors, but this lineup, especially if LeBron James sticks around, needs to change. George Hill is not a starting point guard anymore. He's barely a backup point guard, especially for that $19 million a season contract he has. J.R. Smith just looks like he's in his own little world right now. I guess I'll do this two different ways. They do have like the 8th or 9th pick in the draft, so that will be a pretty nice selection for them right there. If LeBron James does stick around, they probably need to trade that draft pick for somebody like a CJ McCollum, maybe a Kemba Walker, somebody along those lines. They need to get some sort of all-star, sign another player to go alongside their big three right here. Because the good thing, the positive thing about the Cavaliers is that if they were to have like that another all-star caliber player, this would be a very nice deep team, because like Jordan Clarkson, Ronnie Hood, those are really solid bench pieces. They're not guys you want in your starting lineup, but those are guys that will like be big time difference makers off your bench if the team is right out there. It's just that this Cavaliers team is asking a lot of their role players right now, so they really didn't go out this offseason. If they do get LeBron James back, I don't think it's going to happen, but if they do, they need to go for an all-star. If LeBron James leaves, well, then it's a whole new discussion of, letting go of some of your older assets like Kevin Love and going for draft picks and just starting the whole rebuild process. Next up, we have the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, so Dennis Smith Jr. is very nice. Wesley Matthews, he's always been a really solid shooting guard. I would actually say Wesley Matthews is probably one of the most underrated shooting guards in the NBA. He's had like some injuries in the past, so it's kind of slowed him down quite a bit. Harrison Barnes never really became that all-star player that a lot of people thought he would be once he left the Golden State Warriors. But then you look at the front court of this team, and that's absolutely where it gets bad. Like, Dwight Powell should not be starting in the NBA. Dirk Nowitzki, like, I respect that he wants to end his career with the Dallas Mavericks. I do wish they would give him more of a bench role, just because, like, that is a starting spot that they could be using for young blood right now. I do think this team's gonna get someone like maybe a Marvin Bagley. That would be absolutely fantastic to get in the draft. Definitely want to go for a front court player, maybe like a Jaren Jackson Jr., something along those lines right there. And then like maybe, I don't really know what their cap situation is right now, because that contract for Harrison Barnes is pretty large. So Nerlens Noel did not quite work out on this team. I was kind of hoping he would have, because that would have been a nice little player to have on the squad here to boost their front court, but definitely a team that needs to focus on that this NBA offseason. But as far as good things go, I mean, Dennis Smith Jr., I think he is going to be a top 10 to 15 point guard in the NBA, for the foreseeable future, after a few more seasons against some NBA time under his belt. So yes. All right, next up, we have the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, this is a team that I think is going to have a big overhaul this NBA offseason, because I do think they're going to get Paul George. I do think they are going to have another all-star added alongside him, have that be maybe a LeBron James, maybe DeMarcus Cousins, maybe Kawhi Leonard even. So, because what this team kind of likes right now, Lonzo Ball, he's cool. KCP, he's all right. I mean, KCP is a starting shooting guard on an okay team. He's a bench play on a really good team, man. He's like a seventh man off the bench on a really good team. Brandon Ingram, I think he's going to stick around. Julius Randle will probably be gone. Brook Lopez, I don't know what I think about Brook Lopez right now, because if the Los Angeles Lakers go off and they spend all their cap to get some of the All-Stars out there, then it's like, yeah, Brook Lopez is probably a good bang for the buck, because there's not going to be a ton of other options to get for a center position, for cheap out there. I think Brook Lopez actually said he'd be willing to take less money to play for a championship contending team. Thing is, though, is his track record as a winner is not very solid, going back to his Brooklyn Nets days, now in the Los Angeles Lakers. So yeah, I do think they're going to get the All-Stars this season. If not, then I still don't think, if they just go off and go with what they have right now out there, I still think this team with Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram as their helm is still a few seasons away before they are actually, big-time playoff contenders or anything like that. Okay, next up, we have the Miami Heat. So, the thing about the Miami Heat is that it's similar to the Cleveland Cavaliers situation, just minus not having LeBron James, and that is, this is a team filled of, like, really solid role player, glue guys, guys that you want on your championship team, but they just need to go for that all-star player out there to really put it all together. Hassan Whiteside is not that anymore. I do imagine he will probably be gone during this NBA offseason. As far as, like, replace him with another center, I mean, I think Bam is ready to probably start the center position. Josh Richardson has been, like, one of the best players on this Miami Heat team this past NBA season. I think he'll be around. Goran Dragic will probably be back. Tyler Johnson, I imagine, is more of a bench player. So, if they could go out there, make some sort of trade, for an all-star caliber shooting guard, who knows, like a Bradley Beal, once again, CJ McCollum, I'm going to say his name, probably a few times here, just because, like, he's one of those players that, really both those guys, because, like, you want a good center to go with your point guards, and it seems like a lot of cases, like the Washington Wizards, Portland Trailblazers, like, both those teams, it's like, they are definitely guard heavy out there with John Wall, Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, not really proving to win out there, so maybe one of those guys could be available for a few assets of the Miami Heat, and I feel like those guys would fit nicely into this Miami Heat culture out there. All right, next up, we have the OKC Thunder. Russell Westbrook, Andre Roberson, who will be back from injury after this NBA offseason, Paul George, Melo, and Steven Adams. I really don't know what you do to improve this team. I mean, if Paul George does stay, that's a big-time win for them, because they did start to figure things out a little bit better during the end of the NBA season going into the playoffs. Melo already said that he will not accept a bench role, so I don't know what you do with that. It's like, if he accepts his player option, maybe you, I don't know, what do you do with Melo? He said he doesn't want a bench role, so there's going to be NBA teams out there that are not going to, like, give up assets to get Melo on their team. Like, even if you went to a team like the Houston Rockets, the best case scenario is probably a heavily protected first round pick and, like, taking on the contract of Ryan Anderson. So, which might be the better option at this point, just to kind of get this to be Russell Westbrook and Paul George's team, and then kind of build around those guys. Plus, Ryan Anderson can shoot 3 balls. Might be a good stretch for, you know, power forward position out there and stuff too. So, yeah, and the team does not have a lot of cap space. Russell Westbrook has a supermax contract. I know Steven Adams gets roughly about $25 million a season. Paul George, if he resigns, is going to get a max contract offer. So, I mean, not a lot of options out there unless you are willing to trade Melo and get less of a stock out there. But, you know, at the same time, maybe fix the chemistry issues of this team. All right, next up, we have the Orlando Magic. Oh, my God, dude. This is just a freaking bitch-ass mess out here, man. There's the bitch-ass of the day right there, by the way. What do you do if you're the Orlando Magic? It's like Aaron Gordon is restricted. I got to imagine that they are going to, you know, give him the money that any other team offers them out there. Even if it's like a max contract, I definitely think the Orlando Magic will do that. He's a good young talent. That's not something they can afford to walk away. If Aaron Gordon walks away, this team is just like back at square one. DJ Augustine, he's a backup point guard. Evan Fournier, he's an overpaid shooting guard. And that's the thing about Evan Fournier. It's like if he was actually had a pretty solid contract, he would be a very nice shooting guard in the NBA. But the fact that he gets paid so much does make him overrated. Jonathan Simmons, he hasn't been very good since the San Antonio Spurs days. Nikola Vucevic, you know, he's gonna get you 17 and 10 out there, which is pretty nice numbers. But hopefully this team hits the lottery out there as far as their draft pick goes. Yes, they are in the lottery, but I mean, like, actually getting a player that is going to help this team going forward. I don't know who it's going to be. So the Orlando Magic, I'm sorry to say, I don't really have an answer for them out there. I just, maybe it's just time to clean house in your management or do something like that. I really don't know. All right, next up we have the Phoenix Suns. So I mentioned this Phoenix Suns team. They are going to add somebody out. My guess is probably DeAndre Ayton with that first pick. And then all of a sudden, like, the line's pretty good out there. Elfrid Payton, he probably will get re-signed by this team to be the starting point guard for now until they get a better option. I do think after this season, they will probably still be a lottery team just because, like, DeAndre Ayton's not going to come to the NBA right away and completely dominate and take this team, especially in the Western Conference, you know, to the playoffs. I just don't see that happening with him, Devin Booker, at least for a few more seasons. So, yeah, I stay re-signed Elfrid Payton, nothing too large out there. Hope you hit the lottery and then go for that next big point guard in the next, you know, NBA draft or something like that. But a team of Devin Booker, TJ Warren, which is good for about 19-20 points per game. DeAndre Ayton, all of a sudden that's pretty solid. Marquise Chris, he's a role player in my opinion, not somebody that really needs to be the starting forward of this team, but unless they got some better options out there. Money-wise, they should be pretty solid because I know, like, Devin Booker, I believe he's still on his rookie contract. So, yeah, the Phoenix Suns definitely have a nice future. It's just another matter of waiting out there and not giving players that don't deserve money that, a bitch-ass contract, man. We all know what it's all about there, right? Okay, and finally, we have the Sacramento Kings. So last season, I actually gave some props to the Sacramento Kings. I thought they had very nice draft out there. I remember they got De'Aaron Fox, Harry Giles, a few other nice pieces out there. Bogdan, I should say, who has been one of the better rookies from the 2017 NBA draft class. Zach Randolph has a pretty large contract for what he does out there these days. I can't believe he's still in the NBA. I thought he retired a long time ago. But yeah, another team that's going to get a pretty nice lottery pick to kind of add to this right here. I don't expect them to be in the playoffs next NBA season at all, so another team that's a few seasons away. But yeah, just keep on developing De'Aaron Fox. You know, Bogdan is very nice. Justin Jackson, I still think he could be a nice NBA player going back to his college days. I thought he was going to be pretty good this NBA season, but still taking him some time out there. Willie Cauley-Stein, probably an NBA starting caliber center, I will say, with his athleticism, his ability to throw back shots, and even hit the mid-range shot at times too. So yeah, just get that. I'm trying to think like what position they should go for. Probably a power forward, I would say, is their weakest spot. Because Bogdan, I think he can play small forward or shooting guard. You also got Buddy Hield on this team too, who was more of a six-man this last NBA season, but still somebody that's going to be pretty, a pretty solid 15 point per game scorer. Pretty much all he's going to do for you out there. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section what you guys think about these NBA teams. Let me know some other NBA teams out there that you think will be making some drastic starting lineup changes. Let me know about your favorite NBA team and the direction they are going. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and peace out, my friends.